Hey, welcome to the body shop. Back in the garage looking at the Dodge Dart. We're gonna be making some dust.
Be right back. I'm an idiot. What can I tell you? Okay, like my alter ego told you, we are in the body shop. Car's back in the garage, and decided to do a little bit more of the body work on the car. I took a lot of shortcuts last year because I had things to do and parties to go to and other stuff like that. And so I never really finished a lot of these projects, and I bought a lot of paint and supplies and sort of did a half-assed job. But anyway, I'm back here. Took all the letters off, took the grill off. I'm going to try to paint some of the interior too. Took all the trim off the back to try to not have to worry so much about taping things off, and respray this trunk lid, these back sections, this area up here, and just to fix some of these bearing problems. Like for instance here, there's like a real issue with the body line, as you can see. You know, I just have let's see if I can fix this up a little bit, some body filler, and get that body line a little straighter. I also have sand swirls. There's also spots here in the original paint. I don't know how much of this is I'm going to do, but you know, I have things like this, the scratch marks, and just some things I want to try to get a little better. You know, some spot putty in there, but that's the kind of stuff I want to work on. This door here, was starting to lose the paint anyway, so I'm going to try to sand that down. The roof, it is what it is, and then also spray this section here. So hopefully take my time a little bit more on this. You can see I took the back trim off the headlights out, just making things easier to spray, and you know, I got some filler work to do here. So this is stuff I'm going to work on. This is a short video just to tell you what I'm working on. Clean this up a little bit more. Yeah, it's not perfect. I did get a new gas cap. This one I bought off of eBay. This guy looks like he hand makes them, and it's not perfect. It's not shiny. You can see the tooling marks in it, but my thing is that I just want a good gasket to seal off the gas tank, because you can see it's been splashing around out here because of the cap that I had. This is actually the original cap, I think, or one of the original caps I found in the car. But this is the cap that was on the car, and I tried to add a gasket to this, but it just doesn't fit very well. And oh, it is shiny. So that's where we are. Gonna work on this and see if we can get this looking any better. Just have to paint along here. So I brought it back to the garage because I wanted to tape it all off properly and take off some of this trim and try to do a little nicer job on it. I'm not going to go crazy. Like, here's a dent here. Maybe I'll fill it. I don't know. It's just get overwhelming, you know? You know what overwhelming is with these cars. And I probably should have had it professionally painted, but I went out and bought a lot of paint supplies, so I think I'm kind of stuck now doing this job, and just going to try to do the best I can. Sandpaper, tools, rasps, got everything here. Alright, that's it. See you soon. So, taping off the car. Around the GT logos, around all the chrome. It's one bad thing about this car, it's got so much chrome. Going around the windshield, put some plastic on that later on. But, yeah. That's what we got going on. Did some of the Bondo fill, as I promised I would. And it did break down and go in this one little dent. It's still kind of there, but anyway, it's a fun job of taping.
Welcome back to the body shop.
No, I'm not doing that again. Alright, so I went a little bit nuts and took out all of the bad paint. Took off the rocker trim. Thing looks like Spot now, doesn't it? Filled in some miscellaneous holes, some dents. A little hard to see here, but I took out some of my sand marks. And that's what that looks like. Hood. Filled up a couple of dents. Dent over there, a dent back there. And not too much on this side. This side wasn't too bad, to be honest, or to lie. Little hole there, little dent there that you know about this dent. Took care of that. And this side I may take some of the, a little hard to see, I know, there's some sanding marks. I'll probably just go over that with the orbital sander with some like 220 grit or 320 grit just to get those fine sand marks out. I know you can't see this too well, and I apologize for that, but this is that little dent section, or rust section. Got a high spot right there. I'll probably try to knock that down with a punch. And that's sort of where we stand. Thing is, the more you look at this thing, the more things you find. Like there's a little bubble right there. Not a paint bubble, but like something poked up from the trunk lid. Took a lot of this trim off. Gonna prime underneath the trim. So future generations don't have any problem with this. Alright, so
That's where we stand in the body shop.
I know. I'm an idiot. I tell you all the time. So, a couple things. I'm not happy with this trunk lid dent I did. You can see it here. This is kind of difficult to get straight, but I got some bumps. Like there's a big bump here, and this isn't so bad. Also, I got some high spots, so we're going to tackle that. I had an idea on this. Let's see if I can find it. I bought a bunch of stuff. I know, much to the chagrin of the world. That's why I had to buy my music, so I can buy more stuff and fix up this car. But anyway, I decided to buy one of these contour gauges. I don't know if this is going to work. What I figured is I could contour in a section that's good, and then kind of use that as a guide for this other section. See if we can get that blend in a little better. I did notice that I kind of quick painted this the last time, that I could really see that area. So that's that contour gauge. What else are we going to play with? I'm still not very happy with this section here, and it's kind of the way I did the body work. This part is a high spot. It's not actually a high spot. It's part of the weld where they didn't grind down far enough. But I was kind of concerned about grinding the welds down too far, because then I thought that they would, you know, degrade the weld. but and that's the situation here as well. But what I'm going to try to do is just take a punch and knock down these high spots, and then kind of fill them in with filler and see if we can get that better. The body line here is not too bad. It's just this one high spot there and the high spot there that I'll try to take care of. And as you can see, I did get the bare metal on a number of these places where I'm trying to, I don't know, you can see it here. The paint is sort of like scaly. So I guess what's happening is the paint is breaking down. But what happens is it leaves, when you try to sand that down, it's pretty much you have to remove the paint. So we'll hit this with some bare metal primer, and then you know, we'll take care of that. Also, I took all the molding off. I'm trying to take care of all this little surface rust that's sort of underneath the molding. Might as well hit it now when I'm doing it. This door, and you can see a good example of it here, had a lot of these little pot marks, which I guess are probably from it being in a barn for so long, people hitting it with stuff, car doors, stuff like that. So this door was pretty much all like that. And I tried to do like spot fixing, but what winds up happening is you know, you find one and you find another one here and then you find another one there. So what I tried to do is just save some of the paint. I don't know why, but I didn't feel like bringing it all the way down to bare metal. And then these little pot marks I'll probably just fill with some putty or the high build primer and take care of those. But I'm going to probably wind up respraying this whole side. Same thing here. Yeah, here's an example where I didn't get to it yet, but you get these little pock marks. Yeah, just like little car seats. That's what happened here. Let me talk about the techniques that I'm doing here, because if you go online and you read and watch videos, your head will be spinning. Especially if you go to something like an Eastwick, or I think the East. What's the name of that supplier? Eastwood. I'm sure they have great products, but if you watch their videos about do DIY bodywork and painting, your head will explode. And they're basically passing along some good information, but they're also trying to sell their product. I had a lot of misgivings about this product that I've been using, this Rust-Oleum. I've used this along with their other primer. And honestly, the whole car is done with a lot of Rust-Oleum products because it's cheap and it's readily available. I didn't have a spray gun at the time of this video, or at the time I started the car. So I also have one of their self-etching primers, and that's what I'm going to use for the bare metal spots, you know, that I have here and all. But anyway, getting back to this primer. There's a lot of people that would laugh at me and make jokes about using this primer because I'm going to be, this is basically like a lacquer, I think. I think it's oil based, but I'll get some information on that and make sure. But I called the company who supplied my paint, these guys. They're called Color Right, but they're also called Express Paint. And along with this, which is a bunch of spray bottles or spray cans, I also have, here's some of the other primer that I use too. This is like a top coat primer. But anyway, where's the paint? I have paint here somewhere from them that I'm going to actually spray. Oh, here it is down here. Everything's all over the place. So I have their Express Paint pre-reduced paint. So it's a. So I'm going to try to spray this, and I'm going to try to spray it. I also have their clear coat. I'm going to spray this because it's really, a hood like this is really difficult to paint with a spray can. You can do it, but what winds up happening is you get tiger striping, and you really can't see it. Tiger striping basically means where you don't get enough coverage. So you're painting and then you go into the next line, but you may not hit the other line. Without doing like multiple coats with a spray can, you're just not ever going to get a good finish. So I am going to try to attempt to spray with a spray gun. My Harbor Freight spray gun ran here somewhere. This paint for the hood and for the trunk lid. Anything that I have left over, and I'll probably do this top as well. Anything I have left over, I will do what I can on the sides. The rest is going to be rattle can, because I have a bunch of them in this box here. And in addition to that, anything left over with any of this stuff, I'm going to try to do the engine bay and you know, any other miscellaneous spots. So that's where we're at. I really just brought this in here to do a couple of spots, but you know how it is. Just when you start doing things and then you see other things, it's just like, well, I got it this far, I might as well keep going. So that's where we're at. I'm going to get to work. May stop along the way just to show you where I'm at. And yeah, that's it. Don't be afraid of Rust-Oleum. Oh, another thing I want to say is that when I did call Express Paint and told them, you know, hey, I didn't buy any of your primer. Is your paint going to fail if I use your primer? If I use the Rust-Oleum primer? And they said, well, our product is formulated with our primers in mind, but you know, I'm not going to tell you that it's not going to work. And I did this whole section last spring, and obviously the paint did not fail. It didn't flake off all of this section, which was all done with Rust-Oleum primer. So I'm going to, after much soul searching, I'm just going to keep going with what I have, because I don't feel like spending another $150 for sprayable primer, which would be, I guess, like a polyurethane type primer. So I'm going to go with what I have done on this car before, what I did when I was a kid. Yeah, this is what we used as a kid. And I know people that had primer cars for years and years and no paint on top, and they lasted. So trust in my Rust-Oleum. Hey, it's been here since 1921. All right. What a tirade. So wish me luck. See you soon. Bye. All right. So try to do this with the camera. So I'm going to the section where I think the car is pretty good, and uses contour gauge. It's kind of hard to do with one hand, but now what I noticed, and I did this before, is that, you know, obviously I have a high spot here in this section, but I also noticed that can you see it's a little hard to see, but there's a gap between, and I did this actually up further when I had two hands. Now what I noticed is that there's actually a bump here. I don't know if you remember, this was caved in, like right along here. You can kind of see there's an imperfection still there, but it kind of dips in. It got whammed here, and I think what happened is when that got pushed in, it bubbled up here. So now I have kind of a hump. Yeah, maybe we can see it with the contour gauge. I don't know. Oop. Let's do it there. Yeah, so it's kind of hard to see, but there's, you can more or less feel it than anything. But what happens is when this is all painted up, you see the imperfection. So I don't know what I'm going to do. I did mess around with just trying to use my palm to push this metal back. Is the inside of the trunk I can't really get to because there's bracing. There are access spots that really difficult to get in. So there's tools in there. Oh. And I don't know if you can see, but I can see it. There, it is actually this section right here is kind of pushed up. So I'm going to try to whack this down a little more, see what we can get. Okay, so what I wound up doing is taking a punch and a hammer. You can see the hammer down some of these high spots. Got one right there. And what I thought I would do this time, last time I kind of just put the putty in a general spot. I figured this time what I'll do is I'll spread it out a little bit longer. That way your eye won't catch it as much. It may not be perfect, but it won't show up glaring as a defect in the paint at that point. So I may actually go out a little further on this, just to kind of blend it in a little bit more. So it feels okay. There's a high spot there, and I'm going to punch that down a little bit and see what it looks like. Back up here a little bit. So here's that section on the trunk lid. With the aid of my gauge, I made a template out of cardboard. Nope, there we go. I made a template out of cardboard. And as you can see here, a little hard to see, but if I bring this back up here, sort of in the same area, it looks pretty good. There's a spot right there where we can come down a little bit. So all in all, pretty good. I think it's one little section right around here. But I'm going to clean that up, and hopefully that'll look a lot better than that other patch that I did. Okay, there we go. Also, I forgot to mention that I'm using this dowel rod, broomstick, whatever. That seemed to fit the contours of here pretty well, so I'm using this sort of as a sanding stick. Hold on. So, let's go ahead and get a nice round contour in here. That seems to be working pretty well. Just another tip. This is how we do it. Okay, back the next day. I put a tape off the car. Started to do that already. got everything primered. Got a spot here I still have to fix. Mostly everything taped, and I'm going to attempt to spray this today. So let's see what happens. Got some tiger striping up here. Made the same old mistake, painting outside in the sunlight. I will fix that. Don't have a lot of time today, so of course we'll get right into this. So here's a tip for masking. I wound up using these lawn bags. What you basically have to do is just cut off the bottoms of them, but they're also 2-ply and pretty thick craft paper. So if you want to save a little money and not buy a whole big roll of craft paper that you'll probably never use again, you can do that. Just cut the ends off and make them square, and then peel apart the 2-ply or the 2 panels. And these work pretty well. They have sort of a coating on them, I guess. So you should be fine with most paints. Just a little tip I figured out. Okay, safety gear. I bought a brand new mask for paint fumes. Try to save my lungs a little bit. Also, yesterday I purchased this thing and I could not find it. It winds up it was in the trunk. But man, I highly recommend this if you're doing some primer work with fans or some touch-up paint like what I'm doing. This thing works excellent, and it doesn't beg. After a while doing it with your finger, you just get like finger fatigue. So this thing works great. So highly recommend it. I picked this one up at Harbor Freight. It's called Can Gun. Awesome product.
See it needs sweeping